Welcome in, everybody, to the professionally unprofessional Gaughan Racin, Brendan Gaughan, Jeff Motley, Mr. Motley. Nobody has more fun than us.
No, and 2 minutes ago, we weren't even sure if we were having a show, so nothing like...
and we're doing this on a Friday because...
it's a Friday.
Yes,
on a Friday.
We are all over the place, and, of course, gave us the greatest 3-2-1 count in the history of our show. Ready? 3-2-1.
We're almost live on SiriusXM today.
That's right. We are almost live on SiriusXM today. We're really close to being live today, so glad we got it on in time. But welcome in, Mr. Motley. I am back from. I barely made it back. That's why we're doing this on Friday. I was down in Mexico looking at a little tequila plant
after Space Camp last week.
I hate summers. I just get the kids back in school. Let me have regular life.
You get out of here, you're avoiding the 110-degree weather we have every day.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
You grew up in this. So.
I'm okay with this stuff. This doesn't bother me. I'd rather have this than the NASA Space Camp weather. But I had a great time at Space Camp, though. That was super duper fun. Missed that, but also super duper. How about a heck of a race at Iowa? We talked about that. The weird repave might be the weirdest repave I've ever seen in my life.
But I didn't really think it affected the racing very much. It seemed like we did have two grooves of racing.
You had two grooves
side by side.
I just watching it as an ex-driver and a fan. I'm looking at this and heard the story of they didn't have time for this, that, or the other. And I'm looking, going,
it looked like a giant quilt out there.
Yeah, no, and still a lot of action, a lot of side by side. Still no dots on the racetrack. That's driven me crazy since I raced there.
Did you ever ask Rusty why he never put dots on the track?
I did.
He had no answer.
I didn't. Rusty's Rusty, man. Rusty, he was Rusty. He's like, I didn't notice. Like, okay, but no, great race.
Well, a lot of those, like at our place, the dots are there for the driving schools, not for the race cars.
Yes, but you still have a hash in the middle,
correct,
that delineate. And you don't need a hash, but like something on the way in. Anyway, but great race, great. Kyle Larson was honestly once again one of the best. And look, Kyle made his own mistake. But
he was overly aggressive with 120
laps to go
in
but
the race.
He can be that way because
he's already in the playoffs. And he's just racing for playoff points.
He's just racing. He's trying to get playoff points. He's trying to win. But the Fords, we had talked about this. The Fords have absolutely found something on this package. Which, Jeff, if you're a future bettor, what type of package are they going to run when they go to the championship round at Phoenix?
The same package that they're running here. And I tell you what we've seen, too, is we've seen our champion is finding his groove. Because, let's be honest, he should have won 2 of those
2 weeks, yeah.
Right?
He should have won a couple weeks ago. And he was dominant in this race. 201 laps. I said Kyle Larson dominant. Kyle looked like the car to beat.
There were 2 guys, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. One of them made it to the checker flag. The other one didn't.
Yes. And but a bunch of, once again, Chris Buescher led a bunch of laps, looked great, got himself caught up in a little incident there, had a tire go down, a lot of tires going down.
Finally saw a bounce back week really for William Byron. He'd kind of been muddling along the last few weeks. Byron had a really strong car, was running really well the whole race, so good for him.
A lot of guys did a lot of but one noticeable thing to me was Toyotas. Were they there?
Well, I tell you, Denny Hamlin got lapped about 60 laps into the race, and only because of some pit strategy got him
back
up
on the
top
lead lap.
10, and then he got caught up in the accident with Kyle Larson. But you're right. Bell, I think maybe Bell had a little bit of a decent run there, but it was a rough day for the Toyotas for sure.
Bell got no stage points and finished 4th.
And he was the favorite.
And he was
to win the race.
Yes. So that was kind of shocking to me where that went in. But let's talk about how guys made some money. And Ryan Blaney, of course, we did say was the winner of the Iowa Corn 250. And Ryan Blaney was 10-1 to win the race. He was plus 260 for a top 3. Had a bunch of head-to-heads. I mean, look at all them head-to-heads. He was the dog in a bunch of them too. So had some good money there. Group A, he was 320. He was the dog there.
That's a great number.
It's a great number for a Group A matchup. Ford was the winner at plus 200.
Somebody who took that only because I took another manufacturer.
What did I say? You know what? I can't take the same as Jeff. He's been sucking this year.
Yeah,
so.
I'm going to tell everybody now. The race is over. I get a text from Brendan. He said, "Did I take Ford or Chevy?" And I said, "Well, I took Chevy." He goes, "Well, then I took Ford because I went the opposite of you."
Hey, there's always a strategy in betting, right, folks? I mean, you got to have a strategy, and my strategy was pick the opposite of the moosh right now. So I went the opposite of the moosh,
and it worked out.
It worked out. But first win at the Cup Iowa. What a great race, Jeff. I mean, I've been there since the inaugural race. It's in the middle of an Iowa cornfield. It literally is. It's fantastic. If you build it, they will come. Glad they did it. Super proud of I missed the old Stan and the Clements, and all them. who, all the guys that built it up, they should be very proud of what they did. Good looking. You as a racetrack promoter and manager, it looked really good from what they did.
Well, it did, and I think I also really like the way they kind of really played off of being in the Midwest and the Iowa corn. Like if you watch the pre-race driver introductions, or you watch Victory Lane, the corn growing out of the top of it, and the only thing they could have done better is if they literally could have had the drivers emerge from a cornfield like they did in Field of Dreams, or when baseball would play those games out there.
Be careful. Somebody will come up with some way to do that.
Yeah.
They'll put corn down the middle row or something like that, have us walk through them.
I think that would have been cool.
You used to have us walk through the crowd. Remember, we come from the top down.
I had you do that in Vegas for the truckers.
As I said. You used to have us do that forever.
Yeah.
I think we did that in Cup even with you guys.
No. NASCAR only let us do that for the truck series.
Was it?
Yeah, and we put our track announcer up in the flag stand while we did it.
You had God, why am I drawing a blank on his name?
See, the reason we did
Curtis.
The reason we did it the first year was because the year we did the double header with the Champ cars, the Champ car guys wanted to have their guys walk through, but the problem for the Champ car guys is they had sold all the Champ car tickets up in the Dale Earnhardt Terrace. So the poor Champ car guys had to go all the way to the top of the Earnhardt Terrace.
No way.
Down through the terrace, along the concourse, down through the grandstand.
You made the IndyCar guys go from the top?
We didn't make them. Champ car wanted to do that with their drivers, and I remember Paul Tracy and Jimmy Vassar both finally got down to the racetrack, and they looked at me, and I said,
"Don't blame me, not me."
Blame me.
Wow, that's impressive. They came from the top. I mean, that's a long way.
Yeah, and you know what? And I hate to say this. You know what the sad part about the whole thing was? We ran the truck race first, and so if you remember, when the truck race started, it was kind of like dusk.
Yeah.
But it ended in the dark, and most of the fans, we were doing that 30, 5,000 for 5,000.
Most were there for the truck race.
Most of the fans were there for the truck race, and the other thing Jimmy Vassar said to me, he goes, there was nothing more disappointing than standing up there waiting to get introduced and seeing nothing but a stream of taillights leaving the raceway. And I was like, ooh. So
that was back when we were.
And in fact, you might have even won one.
I was going to say, I think that was one of the races that I won.
Yeah, you might have won one of those.
We had a hell of a crowd that night.
We won't even talk about the night you won. And,
hell of a crowd that night.
And all the dirt you stirred up in the infield.
Hell of a crowd that night, though.
Yeah, it was.
Hell of a crowd. Didn't you guys got a fine that night, too?
We got a fine?
Yeah, for not pulling a certain permit because you didn't expect that many people.
That could have happened. No comment. I don't comment on litigation.
Litigation issues. No litigation.
I don't think it'd be pending litigation since I was 20 years ago.
I had family that didn't get in that night.
I still have dirt places on me from you hugging me in Victory Lane after doing your burnout in the
little green dirt.
When you thought there were. Well,
you didn't know dirt could be green, did you? It's pretty impressive.
You know it when you're doing a donut in it. Okay.
I can't do donuts. I had to go somewhere.
We're really off the.
Yes, we are. Let's get to the top 10. We just talked. Ryan Blaney was 10-1 to win the race and a plus 260. William Byron, like as you said, back in action a little bit, plus 320. Chase Elliott, plus 500.
And it was solid all day.
Yeah, Chase had a really solid car all day long. And then look at you mentioned this repeatedly in the show, Jeff. Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
3 wins there in the Xfinity Series.
And he came home 5th, and he talked about it, before the race, that he had a lot of experience. Really paid off for him. Logano, a much-needed good run. Josh Berry.
He led about 80 laps in the race.
Josh Berry led a bunch of laps, led 32 laps, had 5th and 2nd in stages, had a great run. Alex Bowman, a much-needed run. Hearing a lot of rumors about Bowman right now, so that was kind of a thing. He needed to quell some of that. Suarez with a good run with that 9th-place finish. And, of course, Brad Keselowski continuing to just knock off top 10s, man. The guy, are they a legit contender yet? Are we going to start talking about it yet?
I think they're a legit contender. By the way, I just want to make one little mention on Daniel Suarez. He got his dual citizenship.
He got his citizenship.
American and Mexican citizen this
Congratulations.
week. Congratulations to Daniel. I know how much it meant to him. And those of us that have been around the sport, I'm telling you, they don't come any better than Daniel.
No, one of the nicest guys in the world.
Good guy.
I always call him muchachito, and there might be some Hispanic fans that go, "That's not very nice. He's just my little buddy." I love Danny, man. We're been buddies a long time. One guy of note, Kyle Busch. We talked about him. Had a great run. Ended up with a problem. Ended up 35th. Which, as we get to the points right now, the points, he's out on the outside looking in. He is not looking good. Him and Joey Logano both below the cut line. And Kyle now almost in an area with the number of races left that he could be in trouble. If you look at the playoff standings, he is 30 plus points, 40 points out of the cutoff line. And if
we
the
get
line
an
moves,
upset winner,
the
Kyle
line
Busch
moves.
is going to have to win his way in.
Yes.
He could still point his way in from here where he's at right now, but if we get an upset winner, he's in big trouble.
And look at the guys that are, I mean, Joey Logano's on the outside. Chase Briscoe, a perennial last couple years in the playoffs on the outside. So there are some big names on the outside. Ty Gibbs on the inside. Chris Buescher on the inside. Pretty well on the Austin Cindric on the inside with that win with, not many points, but on the inside, Daniel Suarez, not many points.
That's the thing. Suarez and Cindric are the two outliers that are in there because they've got wins, and that makes a big difference. I mean, if you don't have Suarez and Cindric pulling their upset wins, then Logano and Kyle Busch are sitting inside the cut line.
That's right
now.
Let's look at what's coming up, though. This is where we're going to talk about what we got today. Is the USA Today 301? They changed the name?
Yeah, no crayons.
Did I get? Nobody sends us anything. Nobody gives us.
There was a press.
Your
release
SMI. What the heck?
There was a press release about a week ago.
Did they consult us?
No, but I think it's great. We got USA Today in the sport.
I think it's fantastic. But I missed my Crayola crayon 301.
Except it wasn't the Crayola crayon 301.
Sounded good to me. Crayola getting free advertising out of it. We, of course, this weekend, USA Today 301 now, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Then we go to the Ally 400 at Nashville, another SMI track right there. Grant Park 165, the Chicago Street Race. Super excited about that. Pray for rain. I loved it. So I know you hate that, but I love it. The Great American Gateway 400 at Pocono and the Brickyard 400 back on the oval. Honestly, Jeff, where we belong coming into the Brickyard. Very happy we're back on that.
Oh, absolutely. Love Indianapolis. And I believe that's also, does that take us into the Olympic break for a couple of weeks?
I think that is
somewhere in there.
I think it's right. I think it's the Brickyard. I think right after the Brickyard, they do the 2-week break.
But yes, I'm really glad we're back on. I'm not going to call it the oval. That we're on the rectangle, because to me, that is a rectangle.
It is a rectangle.
It is not an oval.
That is why tracks say there's 4 turns, basically. I always used to laugh at you.
Pocono.
I used to laugh at you and say, you don't have 4 turns. Indy has 4 turns.
By that theory, Indy would have 8.
And by that, and I always said Pocono should have 6. All right. When we come back, we'll get out of this stuff and get into the stuff we're good at. Giving you the odds. We'll talk to you in a second, guys.